We do want to go ahead and bring in Woody right now. I know you're eager to get out on the golf course, so thank you for taking a few minutes, filling this time for us. But this was an important topic to talk about today, whether you were scheduled or not, because so many things are happening in the sports world. What is your take? What are your thoughts? And did you ever think you would see this day come that athletes would be able to walk away from the game in protest?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on. Second off, I have no problem really with what's going on because it's driven by the athletes. This is not something that owners are saying. This is not something that leagues are saying. This is something that athletes are doing. And you have to understand that for about athletes are in uniform for about 3 hours a day. The rest of the time, they're plain clothes just like me and you, and they're dealing with these issues. So I really don't have a problem with basketball players or even football players like the Detroit Lions canceling a practice to make a statement. This is what they feel they have to do, and they're using their platform, and I applaud them for it.
They are using their platform in a profound way, and some people bring up a question in this situation, Woody, of how does this make an impact? How does this help things move forward? You're simply just canceling your games, you're taking away your platform, whatever the argument may be. Why are those arguments unproductive in this case when clearly these efforts are making an impact?
Well, you're right, Tyler. They are making an impact, and I feel that in order to make the change that you want, you have to keep this this idea and this movement and whatever you want to call it in the forefront. Don't put it on the back burner. This has to be in front so everyone sees it. There is no rest until something changes. There are no games until something changes. I mean, this is what's going on. I remember the 1964 AFL All-Star game it was supposed to be held in New Orleans, and the black players decided that they were not going to play because of the conditions that were going on. So they moved the game. So there are instances in history where players have enacted change, and this is just another one of those steps in history.
Woody Woodriffe, Fox 2 Sports, do you think the rest of the season's going to be canceled, or is this a one-day, two-day event?
You know what? That's the question. I really don't know if this is going to continue. I think it would all depend on what actions are taken. I mean, right now the players are in control of this, and if they say, "Hey, look, you know what? We're not going to do it," then they're not going to do it. So, your thoughts of championships and relaxing in front of a game. No, there's no relaxing until all of this gets settled. Let's be honest, because until the civil unrest gets settled, sports cannot exist. It can't. So, I don't know how long this is going to go. I don't know, what the ultimate resolution is. But for right now, it's in the players' hands, and they are making all the decisions.
Yeah. So, is there any feedback from the owners and the coaches on this, and what's their take as to what's going on? Because honestly, at the end of the day, sports is a business just like so many other things.
Well, that is true. Sports is a business. And, I remember when players went on strike and they'd bring in replacement players. I mean, we all saw that the product was not the same. It wasn't what we, look at as NFL football or anything like that. So, I don't know if that's an option. I don't see that being an option. The main thing that I see is that until things get straightened out to the satisfaction of everyone, where there's at least a sense of, hey, we're moving forward towards this, then there will be no change. Because let's be honest, just in the time of in the last couple of weeks, we've seen more police shootings. So, I don't understand how these continue in this climate, but the response from the players is what they want it to be. And I can't say that it's inappropriate or appropriate. It's what they want to do. So they're doing it.
And it seems too, Woody, like the leagues particularly Major League Baseball and the NBA, are taking to that message also. Major League Baseball postponed most of their games yesterday after the NBA had decided to shut games down. The NBA was very supportive of all the players of multiple teams when they decided that they weren't going to play basketball yesterday, and in putting together a meeting to allow them to decide what to do with the future. How big of an impact are the league's support having in supporting this movement by the players?
Well, you mentioned the NBA, and they are the ones taking the lead in all of this. I mean, even from the start, getting guys in the bubble down in Orlando and then playing their games. NHL has taken a similar tack. But in the NBA, owners are behind this because they understand that the league is mostly made up of black players. I mean, let's be honest. You can't have an NBA, without black players. I don't know the numbers or the percentage, but it's a league that's run by the players. So the owners, I think they stand with the players because they understand that easily any one of those players could be in a situation like what's going on in a lot of cities around the country. So, I think that you have support there. NFL, we saw it with the Lions, where they did not go to practice on Tuesday. Matt Patricia was behind it 100%. He was proud of the way his team stepped up to make their feelings known in the whole situation with Mr. Blake getting shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So he also got positive feedback. He told the media yesterday from a lot of people around the league on what the Lions did. So, they're back at practice, of course, but they did use their platform to make a statement. Now, I think that the NBA may have picked up on a little bit of that and said, hey, you know what? We can just stop it right now. So that's what they did. And Major League Baseball, they followed suit by canceling a few games. This is something that I feel is still a fluid situation. So we don't have a definite answer on what players will do or what leagues will do. It's a moment by moment situation. So we just have to wait and see. It would, I don't know if it would be unfortunate to see a season canceled because, again, I'm not an NBA player. Now covering the league, it would be difficult because then, games would stop and we'd be back to, dealing with the social issue aspect instead of the on the court aspect. But I'm coming to find out that you can't just ask these guys to shut up and dribble. I mean, they have a say and a stake in all of this, and they are making their feelings known.
As you mentioned, this is being spearheaded by the players, and we are seeing players of all races and all backgrounds come together to support this issue. Do you think that's going to help them in a team-building moment down the road and could make them stronger teammates?
It's already happened with the Detroit Lions. We were talking to their players yesterday, and the conversation was that it was good that everybody could speak and be educated on what's going on and how to speak about it and, those kinds of things. Because let's be honest, a lot of guys don't have the same experience that other guys may have on the same team. And they're maybe in a pattern where they're caught like, okay, how do I deal with this? How do I respond to it? How do I deal with other players who may be, dealing with this on a more personal level? So all the discussions, all the conversations are happening. And I think it is bringing the team closer. Now, will that, lead to success on the field when they get back on the field? I don't know. I mean, I'm still leery about that because in the NFL, there's been no preseason games. So you won't know what the product will be until they hit the field for game one. And, it may be sloppy football. I don't know. But in the meantime, that's the situation that we're in. And that's what's being presented to the players. There's no preseason. But, yeah, I think instances like this will bring teams closer because now everyone understands what everyone else is feeling.
Woody, we were just 4 years ago, it was the first time that Colin Kaepernick had taken a knee in protest during the national anthem in an NFL football game. At that point, one of the strongest shows of support for social justice movements in professional sports. Just how much of an impact 4 years later has that moment and that gesture on a game-by-game basis by Colin Kaepernick had on the landscape of the sports world, particularly from the player's perspective?
Well, Tyler, I would think that Colin Kaepernick's statement from 4 years ago is resonating loudly today. And you have to think that Colin Kaepernick had it right with what he was doing, because now, as you can see, there's kneeling, there's all kinds of things. But you can also see how Colin Kaepernick's message got twisted by a lot of other people who've made it about the flag and made it about he was un-American and all of this kind of stuff, where the exact opposite was true. This guy was completely American, using his constitutional right to protest and using his platform in a way that got his message out. Now, did it cost him? Yes, it did, because he didn't play football ever again. It cost him big time. But 4 years later, we see that he was on the right side of this issue. So if you're looking at Colin Kaepernick, you better look at him and say, hey, you know what? You had it right the whole time.
Any chance he's going to come back to the league, do you think?
I don't know about that, Ronnie. NFL teams, I believe, have this is just my belief, my personal belief, that NFL teams have said, hey, you know what? We're not going to touch this guy because we don't want any of the other stuff that comes along with him to come in and disrupt our team. And the other stuff being all of the social issues. Now, as Colin Kaepernick did get signed by a team today, what would be the number one questions to him? It would be about social media. Would it be about him playing quarterback? Would it be about him, hey, the last time you were out, you were a Super Bowl caliber quarterback with San Francisco under Jim Harbaugh? No, it would not be that. It would be all about social media. Social aspects. So a team may not want to do that. I think all teams don't want to do that. So they kind of silently blackballed him. I wish Colin could talk about this more and had not accepted, some kind of buyout where he couldn't talk about it. We might have gotten maybe a little clearer explanation on what he's going to be doing moving forward. But, he has that condition above him, and the league, I don't think, is going to bring him back at all. So I think that Colin Kaepernick, as far as an NFL quarterback goes, is done. But Colin Kaepernick, as a spokesman for social justice with an NFL slant to it, could go a long way in maybe, helping lead this thing, or be a spokesman or something like that.
Put social justice aside. Let's say they do play football. We'll put you on the spot here. Predictions for the Lions this year?
I don't have a prediction for the Lions this year because personally, I don't think that the season will be completed. I think this COVID-19 thing will work its way into the NFL bubbles somehow. And guys are going to be on that COVID-19 reserve list the way that we saw earlier in the season. And I think it's going to cost people games. Imagine if you're, on the way to a playoff push, and all of a sudden your starting quarterback is on the COVID-19 reserve list. He's out for then the next 2 weeks. You lose your playoff position, and then you don't do anything for the rest of the season. How upset, how difficult, how up in arms would fans be over that?
So does that mean fantasy football is off the table for you this year?
Well, for me, yes. I'm not enrolled in fantasy football this year because, let's be honest, I think the situation is too difficult. If guys are on COVID-19 reserve lists, how do you select other players? I mean, look, you know what? Fantasy football is on the complete back burner here in the kitchen, okay? Right now, what's up front is dealing with the current situation of players dealing with social unrest and getting on the field that way. Everything else is just ancillary and a distraction.
Woody Woodriffe, Fox 2 Sports, thanks for being our backup champion of the day and coming to our rescue here on the Oakland County MegaCast.
You're welcome.